Hi. It's pretty froze outside. I think the high today is only 37 or something like that. It's in the 20s this morning. It's cold. It's even cold in here. I got the fireplace stuffed. I've been doing the ceiling on the cabin. We can't do that today. So what we're going to do today is build a rabbit hutch. I got a customer order and we need to get it done. So I was kind of putting it off till today when there was no working outside. So I got a hutch and then I got a coop to do right after that. But we start out with 6 2x4s. What I did, these are the top and bottom rails cut 7 foot 8 inches. Now I use a 2x4 and cut it into 2x2s. You can buy 2x2s. They're more expensive that way and they're going to be warped. Even these boards, if I don't get them screwed together like within a day or so, they'll warp. So 2x2s are really hard to get. It's like I say, as soon as you cut them, they warp. If I throw it in a scrap pile, it's worthless in a couple of days, as it will literally end up like a U. So what we're doing to start with is these are 7 foot 8. You got legs 4 foot, and we're going to screw these together. We have 8 2 foot pieces split for the cross beams, but for now it's get some screws and start getting them in there. For this piece, I can't remember how long this is. I have a pre-cut spacer I use, 20 inches. So we just set this in here. And it's best to cut a piece like that so you know you drop it in every time. We got one frame together. We're just going to set it to the side for now and do the other one. When you're doing these things, even you notice everything I do, always pre-drill your holes. The reason you want to pre-drill them is because if you don't, it will split the wood. And you're losing strength by doing that. One of the reasons I use 2x2s is cost. It's cheaper for me that way. And the other is eventually everything I build gets loaded into a truck and it's got to be able to be picked up. So it makes it lighter as well. So that's a good both ways. Putting a screw through a finger today. It's not going to happen. I'm already sore enough. Part. Ow. This is never easy with one person. I'm going to stand this frame up. Lean it up against something. And put these cross pieces on. Put them. Other screws, we did one top, one bottom, because now we're going to do side to side. That way they don't hit each other. Alright, we had a little issue with a full memory card. What I did is got the frame all screwed together from that end outside and measured 2'8" and put the center support in side of that mark. 2'8". Same on this side. Now before we go any further, time to pull some wire. What we use on the floor is called cage wire. It's 1/2 inch by 1 inch. These rolls come 10 foot by 30 inches. We'll have to cut it off, but that's okay. As you can see, this stuff is going to spring out, and if your fingers are in there, I can tell you it hurts like crap. But if you pull that off right, you can save that wire. I got it turned. What we do is just flatten this part out. What I do is set it on. I always use, when I'm building, this side's my front, so I line it up flush with that side, and then you go, it's about a 1.5 spaces, and cut it 3 in. 2, 3. You want to, whether you're doing them by hand or with a gun, you want to put a good amount of staples in that, because as you roll this out, it does put a lot of pressure on it. We're just going to roll. Put 2 in there to hold it for now. I always just take a pair of needle nose and pull it tight. Hey, ow. Watch that. We push it down best we can. 1, 2, 3. I can't get it from that. I was trying so y'all could see it, but one, two, three. You can cut these off by hand. I do way too many of these things, so I use the grinder. But you don't have to have set that to the side, because you're going to use it later, but be really careful about stepping on those, because those will go right through a shoe or a boot, and it hurts. Yep, I've done it a few times. Now that we got the floor in, we're going to put these supports in the top. Remember, that's 2'8" from the end. Two more pieces of 2x4 and split them down 20 inches long. Back, front, back. Mark that. If you want to measure it, it's 24 inches. 4 foot over. These are here just to keep it from sagging in the center. Triangles here. To keep this leg from collapsing when you go to move it. For the back, I'll lay it down because it's easier. You need a sheet of 3/8 plywood or whatever you got. 2 foot by 8 foot. And if you can, I mean, it don't have to be straight, so you can cut it if you have a circular saw. If you don't, Lowe's or Home Depot will cut it for you. But I just take regular screws and try not to put one in your finger or slide off. That's why I hate Phillips bits, man. You slide off, it's amazing how sharp that thing is when it hits your finger. Now, flip it back up. Pickets. They'll shrink. Because basically they're just rough cut, treated. They're not dried, but they are treated, so they'll last. Always pre-drill everything or you will split it. What I always do is line this first one up with this bottom board here. There's one side. The supports for the legs. Cut a piece of scrap. It's 11 inches. Oh. What we do is just pop that in there. So we keep them all spaced the same. Golly. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Oh, stupid. See, that's where I messed up. Dang it, wasn't thinking. Should have put the center wire in before I put the back on. It's a lot easier to do it that way. But, oops. So we're just gonna have to deal with it, but it is easier. But we gotta put those center dividers in. For that, what we use Cage wire is 1 by 1 inch. It comes 2 foot by 15 foot. And there's a special way we have to do this. Dividers come out about 2 foot 3 inches. Yeah, it's 2 foot 3 inches. That wire is only 2 foot across, so you got to measure it that way. So we want to measure 26 inches and cut it. Cut that off, then cut 2 off of these ends. And then measure it there. 1, 2, cut it off. And the same thing, we cut these corners off. Now what we do is it's just kind of flat. And it's in there. Cut off piece from earlier. What we want to do with this, unroll it. Get tangled up in it. That always works. Yeah, let it fall for a second. Measure here. 19. So 19 inches. Four. Get 2 pieces of scrap wood. My big clamps are up. At the cabin build. You just measure it halfway. And put your board on there. What we do is take your hammer, bend it over. Here's one. Full time. Because our hutch is made out of wood, we put these on there to keep the rabbits from chewing through. Alright, it's time for some doors. We're getting close. 28 inches. And these are what? 31? 28. Now what we do, I think it's 16 inches. I think it's 16 inches. 16? Nope. It's about 16 and a half. Yeah. Three pieces, 16 and a half inches. And this is where we go to the tail. If you got any rough edges, these are, I try to use the best board for the doors. But if you have any rough edges, you want to put them all on one side because you can put the wire on that side. And you don't have to worry about issues with your hinges. Hinges. You gotta be careful with this. I cannot tell you the number of times I've pushed that screw in and that door flops open and whacks you in the head. So just pay attention. Yeah, inching closer. Go ahead and leave that open. Very important step. These little blocks. I always forget to do this before I put the roof on. And it makes it a pain. Put them here. The reason we do this is because it keeps the door from going back in, because with the bolt latches you can't use the little top hook that holds it. The problem is these things, they warp, shrink, and move. So this way you can use the latch without the clip. So up here, this gives your roof a little bit of a slant so that the water will drain off the back. But the reason we do this first is because when you put the roof on, you got to put the latch where it goes up into the space of the roof. You put them on before, you'll see. Or 30 inches. These is they take a lot of screws. And these screws are expensive. The actual chicken coops do, because you actually have to worry about the rabbit pushing up on them. So instead of just one in the center and across, you've got to do every two. Latches. Like I said, this little hook we can't use because I've tried it before. They always move, so no sense in messing with it. That's why we put that little block. And there's our finished product. As you can see, that's where we put those triangles. Metal over the support beams spots, because that's where they can get to. But and like I said, that's we put the latch in the center of one of those ridges, so it gives it room to open. That's it.